Hello everyone, I'm Entom64.
I'm MBM.
And I'm XGamerRichie.
And welcome to the HellfireComms playthrough of Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Oh, this is a wonderful little puzzle game for the Nintendo DS, and what's special about it, at least to me, besides the wonderful graphics, the music, the story, etc., is that it was written and I think directed by Shu Takumi, he of the Ace Attorney franchise, and it's pretty cool because he did Ace Attorneys 1, 2, and 3. And then I think there was a little bit of a break, because I'm not sure whether he did the scenario for Apollo Justice. But, yeah, so there was a gap and he came back for this. And it shows, because Ghost Trick is a very well-written game. And I think after this, the next kind of, like, puzzly, sort of, like, handheld game he'd, like, direct or write the scenario for was Layton vs. Ace Attorney, and then you have that one Japanese-only Ace Attorney game like Daiben Sentai.
No, there's more Japanese early. There's a whole bunch of Japanese-only ones. We're missing out on a lot of good Ace Attorneys, guys.
This is true, but the one we're specifically talking about is Daigyakkuten Saiban Naruhodo Ryunosuke no Boken.
Yeah, the one with Japanese fucking Sherlock Holmes and Lolly Watson. Oh, Jesus. Before I even get into that kettle of fish, Mexi, what do you love about Ghost Trick? And, wow, it's good to have you back, man. You haven't been on a HSC playthrough in a while.
It has been a while. I've had real life stuff, but I could not pass up an opportunity to commentate on Ghost Trick. I love this game. I love all of the games that he's written when he's given the proper time. I believe Ace Attorney 2 is a very clear indication that even great writers, when given a time crunch, aren't going to deliver optimal properties and stuff.
Yeah.
But I really feel like Ghost Trick, you know, he was given the ample time. The story has great details, lots of good twists and turns. And just the style, this game oozes style. Like, even though there's something really familiar with it, like you can still see that Ace Attorney flavor to it, but there's just something super distinct about all the characters in this game.
Richie, what's your take on Ghost Trick, mate? We're just basically going through tutorial land here, and before I cut over to you, the main conceit of Ghost Trick is just that. You are dead, yeah, from the very start of the game, and you must use your ghost tricks to manipulate environments, move about, and solve the mysteries. It's much less cerebral than Ace Attorney. I think one criticism the game got is that there weren't as many eureka moments. It didn't feel as satisfying, but that package as a whole I think makes up for that. But I'm cutting off stuff that you could be saying, so go for it, mate.
Yeah, I'd say, like, Ghost Trick is amazing. Like, I remember when in the run-up to it, there was sort of a hesitant optimism towards Ghost Trick running up to its initial release, and when it came out it was just like, oh my god, this is actually really good. I think the general reception was very positive to mixed, the reason for that being that they're, like, obviously visually the game has got an amazing style. Its sprite work is just ridiculously phenomenal.
And bro, have you seen those animations?
They're just, like, so insanely good. And the whole gameplay conceit is really clever. The problem is that so many of the puzzles are very trial and error-y.
Yeah.
And while you are given constant tries to get it all right, the fact that it is so trial and error-y does just mean that sometimes the puzzles end up being a little bit more frustrating than perhaps they should be.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that does just let it down a bit, but that said, it's still freaking amazing. And actually I've just looked at in terms of awards, and apparently, while the game was nominated for Best DS Game of E3 2010 by Game Trailers, it lost to Okamiden, which, to be fair, that is a disgrace, because Okamiden turned out so shittily.
That is, wow, what a bad game.
I'm still salty about Okamiden. I will never not be salty about Okamiden.
I feel like kind of a bit about that the disdain to the puzzle design, or just, you know, the flaws with it. I feel that's something that the game does that shows its roots in point-and-click adventure games. Like, you wouldn't really think of this game as a point and click, but it really, really is, and so is like Ace Attorney. But I feel like with Ace Attorney, it's a lot of the like dialogue-based puzzles that you would see in old like Monkey Island games and stuff. Whereas this is consistent entirely of cause and effect puzzles, which even back in the day, you know, those were really fucking obscure. So I just feel that it's kind of based also in its genre, but it's definitely true that they could have ironed out a lot of making the puzzles to make them a bit more obvious.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
They're still fun, regardless.
Oh god, yeah. And I mean, the fact that Ghost Trick did end up winning a few awards in the end, it got Best Handheld Game of 2011 from GameSpot, Best Game No One Played 2010 from GameSpot.
Oh, what a backhanded compliment.
Nice? Question mark?
Yeah, that's basically the Okami Award. Then you got Best Nintendo DS Game 2011 from Game Trailers and Nintendo DS Game of the Year 2011 from Game Zone. So it did very well with the media in general, even if, yeah, it didn't necessarily sell the best, and that's probably because everyone looked at it and just thought, and I'm talking about the general public here, just looked at it and thought, what the hell is this weird-ass game? And that was about the extent of things. Alright,
let's get back into the game. This is our main character. He's got a pretty cool design, and he thinks he can save the redhead from being shotted to death, so let's try and possess the corpse and see how well this plan of his goes.
Oh yeah, I hope you're a fan of like body horror and stuff, because there's a lot of possession, manipulation, astral projection. It's all there. It wouldn't be a Ghost game without it.
Yep, we click the trick button and nothing's happening, which means we can't take action and we can't save the redhead right now. So let's watch the sad events unfold.
Bad ending.
The reason that we can't do anything with that body is because that's ours, so we can't really do anything with it, which really sucks.
Yeah, it's yeah, manipulating your own body, isn't that just called living?
Well, you really, yes.
There's been papers written on it. I think the term is a ghost in the shell.
Ah, I
yes.
see. A famous Western movie, recently released, I think you'll find.
I don't get the logic there that a corpse isn't a thing. It's like, explain chemically the difference between a corpse and just another bunch of carbon. Like, really, what's the difference here?
This is one of Mexie's science questions. I haven't heard one of these in a while, but, yeah. R.I.P. Redhead, I guess.
Yeah, she did. But the thing that, I find quite interesting is that, so we're going to find out that when we can't do anything with our corpse, we might be able to do things with other people's corpses, which does begin to beg a few questions, I feel.
I'm not trash. Don't treat me like trash. Did you see my hair?
It's styled like a banana for effect.
He reminds me so much of another character, does the main protagonist of Ghost Trick, and it's bugging me that I can't remember who it is. I want to say it was like the main singer of that really, really weird band in like the late 90s, early 2000s, which did their Ting Tang Walla Walla Bing Bang song.
Oh, the cartoons?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Because, like, I mean, that they were very... Oh, no, yeah, that probably is about right, because he did have a massive spike of blonde hair, although it was more in a massive pompadour than going straight up.
Them frosted tips.
Yeah, that was a weird-ass band, but, like, Doodah and Witch Doctor were hilarious and really catchy, so...
The lamp is talking to us!
Oh, this is fine. This is perfectly normal.
I love lamp.
It's the Pixar lamp.
It is the Pixar lamp. Holy shit.
Alright, we'll call him Luxo then until he gives us another name.
The dead don't have voices. That's deep, lamp, bro. Deep.
yes, there are many ghost tricks in the game. Manipulation is but one of them. And, yeah, ghosts don't exactly talk to each other. It's more like telepathy, I want to say. Which, you know, it makes sense because they've left their physical shells behind. They have no muscles of which to speak.
There's no lungs for air to go through, so there's no talking. It's like, way to go, game, you got it right, bravo!
Okay, so Luxo over here is going to teach us all about ghost tricks and whatnot. There's a lot of talking in Ghost Trick. It's very much like the later games, but I would say a snappier sort of like design curve. So if we do get a bit reactionary to what's happening on screen, I do apologise, but that's just the way these adventure games go. And yeah, no one, let alone a feisty little redhead, should be left like a discarded yogurt pot in a junkyard. It's just not right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not okay. And since we're a ghost, let's try and do something about it, because it wouldn't be good otherwise.
We're gonna go haunt a house, right? Just go freak out a bunch of kids during their slumber party while they're using a Luigi board?
Oh, a Luigi board. Classic. But would they pay us for our troubles? Like, how would we even, like, hold the currency?
Are you saying that there is a ghost economy? Do I have to pay my ghost rent?
I mean, there are ghost writers, but I'm not entirely sure they're deceased, so, let's try and help out the woman in the meantime. It is trick time!
Oh, that's just Saturday evenings for me.
Yeah, you can occasionally get, like, bits of extra dialogue by clicking thought bubbles that, pop up. When it's usually at the top of the screen, that's, like, the main character and whatnot, if it appears above other characters. Sometimes it's needed to progress the story, sometimes it's not. If you're the kind of person who likes to get really deep into, you know, adventure game plots and whatnot, click everything you find. You know, it may take you longer to finish the chapter, and the game is chapter-based. There's about 18 in all, I believe. Yeah, just go ahead and click it.
Yeah, and I have to say, they're surprisingly long. Because, yeah.
It's basically the press from Ace Attorney. Like, sometimes you need it, but it's mostly there to get all of that flavor text.
Yeah, yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, these cases, episodes, because are they episodes or chapters? I can't even remember anymore. Yeah, but yeah, they are surprisingly long. Like, me and Tom have been sitting down to record them, so I'm basically giving him all the info he needs as to what to do. And yeah, let's just say that when we were doing this, we're just like, right, we've got a video which is a good indicator of what the length is, and then we're just like, oh, actually no, the part's going to be like double the length of that. Oh, these things are a lot longer than I remember them being.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't want to name drop whose playlist we were going off of, but let's just say we record in terms of playthroughs. Like, we give ourselves time to comment what's on screen. I would imagine said person was skipping through text a lot faster, you know, because it's just for non-commentary purposes.
Probably, but yeah. This game is taking a while to record, let's just put it that way.
Oh, well, it's fine, we'll get there. So yeah, you can't ghost and trick at the same time. There's some kind of spiritual law against it. So you can move through the ghost world by pressing the ghost button, but you have to be in the land of the living to trick, so just keep that in mind.
Otherwise, the ghost cops will show up and send you to ghost jail.
What are they going to do? I'll just trick my way out of there. What, are you going to shoot me? I'd like to see you try, I can't be double dead. Huh. Every core we've seen thus far is blue, but that one's like almost golden.
Well, that's because it's somebody else's dead body. That's pretty much why.
And that makes it special.
Well, I mean, I'd say that, you know, the magical emanating glow from our corpse is probably indicating something being a little bit more special, but that might just be because it's ours.
Whoa, hold on there, Richie. There's no magic, alright? This is all ghost, okay? There's a science. This is a very scientific, very accurate, factual-based game. There's no magic. There's not a fucking wizard trick. No, these are ghost tricks.
Oh, I want to ghost trick some wizard crackers. Oh, that takes me back.
Well, I mean, you see, here's the thing. If we take the fact that this is a Shoot-Takumi game to mean that there's if there's a Shoot-Takumi expanded universe, so this is part of the same world as the Ace Attorney series, then it actually works out alright, because obviously we know that there are ghosts spirits in the Ace Attorney franchise, because there are spirit mediums who can summon the spirits of the dead. And obviously we have ghosts here, and yeah, that would be quite cool. So it's not necessarily magic per se, but there's certainly we're dealing with ghosts, of course, as a supernatural element.
Yeah, it's more supernatural than magical. It's kind of funny, actually. Mexi was dancing around spoilers back there, but let's say it is actually a scientific explanation, so to speak, and I'll say no more for now. For the time being, let's just possess her corpse and see what comes of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is totally normal. We're just gonna, possess this dead girl's corpse, and yeah, apparently we get to talk to her.
Note that when possessing the corpses of those around you, make sure you get consent first. Remember, consent and safety first, always with ghost tricks.
Well, seems to be unconscious right now, so definitely not wearing the cool shades that our icon is wearing down there in the bottom right. Thank you, Kato, for that, by the way.
See, all those little ghosts, they just remind me of Shaman King. But, obviously because it's being drawn from the same cultural interpretation of what a spirit or a low-level ghost looks like.
Yeah, for sure. A friend of mine actually tried to get me to sit down and watch Shaman King. I couldn't make it through the first episode. It was so cheesy.
Yeah, it is quite cheesy.
It's that early 2000s shonen gold. Mwah! Delicious.
But to be fair, and I'm not a dub hater by any means, but it was the dub that put me off.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, that 4Kids intro song is my jam.
Dun 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 dun, Shaman King, etc.
That's the one.
I will say that the manga's quite good, apart from the fact that So he did finish the manga, but they haven't actually released the physical volumes in English, I don't think, of the actual ending of the series.
So get your weeb on, kids.
Is ridiculous. So yeah, the only way that you're ever actually going to be able to finish reading Shaman King is to go online to do it, because yeah, they just didn't release it, which I just find to be really annoying.
That just makes me want to go back in time to 4 minutes before a person's death.
Yeah, apparently your soul has an expiration date of a day. But if you return said soul with receipt within that day, you can get a full refund.
I felt like doing that many times. I think I'm out of warranty right now, though, honestly.
The warranty was voided. Why? Looks like you spend most of your life just watching anime. It's like, oh, yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, that may have actually led to the decline of your soul's quality faster. And yes, there is time travel in this game. What was that we were saying about science earlier?
Time travel is part of science because it's part of science fiction.
Yeah, it's Ghost Tricks. I ain't gotta explain shit.
Yeah, and of course this game has to do the whole, one timeline, you just hop backwards instead of, crossing to another timeline back in time.
Oh, okay. We future Trunks now, is what you're trying to say.
Something like that, yeah. We're future Trunks, not Okabe, essentially.
Okay, so he was already dead 4 minutes ago, him being us, and the woman is accosted by a blue mafioso for some reason. I'm not entirely sure whether he's dead already or whether that's just a stylistic choice.
Nah, bro, it's a Golgo 13.
I think it's a stylistic choice because, as we will see later on, there are other people in this world with that look.
Ah, okay. Temsic, eh? Keep that one on the back burner for later, it'll come in handy.
See, in a Nintendo game, it would be, like, in red text, and have the quotation, and there would even be a little picture face next to it.
Oh yeah.
That is definitely something they've started doing more and more as of late. Like in Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Like whenever they mention Spawny, there's a little picture of Spawny in the corner.
What the fuck is Spawny?
So, obviously the wrong game to discuss this over, but the start of Mario and Rabbids, a bunch of Rabbids get this machine that can merge things. It goes a little bit haywire, and the Rabbid merges with the thing, and yeah, it goes a little bit nuts, and then what ends up happening is that he gets called Spawny by one of the characters in the universe, and then that's what he's called for the rest of the game. And yeah, whenever his name turns up, it's in a colour with an icon of his face. And it's quite cute, to be fair.
I love this game's sense of humour. You can tell it was written by the guy who also wrote the first 3 Ace Attorneys, because it's got a very, almost irreverent sense of humour, I think. It takes itself seriously when it needs to, but other times it's just going to be a little bit sarky here and there.
That's his trademark.
So yeah, that's how it played out. Our tricks helped a little bit, but it wasn't enough to change her fate, unfortunately.
No, she died.
She dead, dying dead.
What are you laughing about that for, Rich? It's not cool, someone just died.
Well, she's dead as a doornail. There's not much we can do about it, other than, you know, the fact that we've gone 4 minutes back in time, and therefore we might be able to do something about it with ghost tricks, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Death kind of loses all meaning when you throw time travel into the equation. Like, death is literally up there with eating. It's just a bodily function that will pass.
Well, I mean, definitely considering how long this game is, and obviously the fact that basically this is the key gameplay structure.
Yes.
So obviously in the Ace Attorney games you have the cases, you have the investigation phases, and you have the trials. Ghost Trick is similar in the sense of you have more exploration phases, and then you have these timed phases which are to do with somebody's death and trying to fix it, basically.
Some of these move much faster than others, so while it's not playing out in real time, I wouldn't advise, like, dawdling, because even though you have unlimited retries, that clock is ticking, and it's ticking down fast. Sorry, Mexi, I was speaking over you there, mate. You got something to say?
Yeah, I just had a question. So, with this, the gameplay style, even though we're talking a lot about how it compares to other games that were written by the same gentleman, my question is mostly that, would you compare this gameplay as closer to Ace Attorney, Layton, or the Edgeworld investigation games? Like, which would you say it's the closest to?
I would say it's somewhere in the middle of Layton and Ace Attorney. I don't think it's anything like the Edgeworth game. Zzz.
Well, I can't say anything about the Edgeworth games because I've never played them.
You should. They're good.
I know, eventually. But I would say that, it probably sits in between because it's got the stronger puzzle element of Layton. It's got the narrative structure and style of Ace Attorney.
Yes.
But then it's got its own very unique take on things.
Yeah, and that's one thing I like about this game.
Yeah, it's, as you said, it's much more point-and-click adventure style in terms of what it's asking you to do, but there aren't really any games out there like this. There certainly weren't before, and there certainly hasn't really been afterwards, which I find to be actually really quite awesome.
Why was there a blender inside that fridge? I mean, it's very helpful because it's going to enable us to get up to the top layer of the junkyard, but I don't know. I stick like cobs and cheese inside my fridge.
It's because they wanted to see whether the fridge freezer would blend.
Nah, I get it. It's an internet meme.
It's a very old internet meme.
Yep, time is passing, so let's close up this shit.
Hot, spicy meme.
Okay, Mexi, let's close up that thing and get back over there. This is one of those things that you kind of have to do in a sequence, so we start the blender going, we ghost over to the fan, get that running as well, and then very quickly get back to the flag lest it goes up without us. And that's an example of a timed puzzle and ghost trick.
There's a few which can be slightly crazy in terms of how tight the timing is. I mean, there's one puzzle in a few chapters' time where you've got literally milliseconds to jump between things and trick them, and oh boy, let's just say recording that is a bit stressful.
Mm-hmm. So already you can see Fate is changing, because we weren't here in the previous version of events, so maybe we'll be able to help the redhead along.
See, I like her design so much. Like, the game has a real good sense of color, too. Just,
Yes.
I mean, lots of yellows, lots of reds, lots of bright fire tones. So good.
Character designs in Ghost Trick are some of the strongest elements, I think. There's very few, like, forgettable characters in the game. Obviously, some are more striking than others, but there's a sense of style running throughout the whole thing, which I really enjoy.
You see, it's the power of the sunglasses. That is where the style is.
Oh yeah, very Kamina-esque, I think.
See, I just picture some MS Paint triangle shapes, and you just make two triangles. It's like, there, style. My aesthetic.
You see, this is why Gangster Squirtle is best Squirtle.
Oh yes, the Squirtle Squad actually came back recently in the Sun and Moon anime, along with Brock and Misty, and they had fucking, like, mega evolutions as well. That was pretty sick.
They had Mega Evas. They even had their sprite poses.
They're Pokemon, not them themselves, I hasten to add. Alright, let's pedal along here. By the way, when Fate changes, that's essentially game speak for a checkpoint. So, the more you change Fate, the more checkpoints you get. And, ooh, I'm sensing a way to change things completely here, to avert the death altogether.
Yeah, I have the feeling that Sissel, or our protagonist anyway, needs to listen to a little bit of Miley Cyrus and come in like a wrecking ball.
Christ, Richie. Christ, why?
Did you write that joke? Did you prepare that?
No, it was very much improvised, and that's why it was told so badly.
Yep, there you go. Oh, I guess he's not nearsighted Jigo anymore. He's flat Jigo, and let's just ignore the fact we murdered a guy. It was for the greater good.
It's fine, we're dead. It's not like anybody can come and accuse us of murder.
No, see, that's chapter 2.
Mexi was talking earlier about the ghost police.
This is true, but we've got no proof that the ghost police exist, and therefore we should probably be fine.
Yes, that's all you did. You prevented murder. You time traveled. You're conscious after death. Bro, what more do you want?
There we go, fate averted, and, well, hopefully we learn her name soon, because I don't mind saving people, but, it's much more personable if we get to know them, you know?
Yeah, but I think it's probably going to be a little while before we find out her name.
The slow burn, as it were.
Yes.
For now, she is character.
Arcs. Writing!
Rain.
Getting a little bit of that film noir feeling going on right now.
This is a very noir game, and that kind of goes back to like the whole color thing. This is probably the prettiest noir game, because everything else tries to go for that black and white aesthetic. So good on Capcom.
Yeah, it's a very hopeful game in terms of its color palette, which, you know, gels well with how the game is written. Again, I'm trying desperately not to give any spoilers away, but let's just say the feels were real at certain points throughout Ghost Trick, and our protagonist, he doesn't know who he is, doesn't know where this place is, doesn't know why he died. So I guess we're gonna have to Ghost Trick it up and find out the truth.
Wait, our main character has amnesia? I didn't know Ghost Trick was a JRPG. What?
Actually, speaking of our protagonist here and his amnesia, our main character was received pretty positively in general, but Game Informer's Joe Juba did criticise him as falling flat as a hero, specifically the amnesia being used as a constant crutch. Because to be fair, in video games and in films and other literature in general, amnesia is a very tired cliche.
It is, but it's used well here, you know?
It does a very good job of using that crutch, and it's a very well designed crutch. So ultimately that makes our protagonist much more endurable as a character. And that helps him so much, particularly also the fact that he has such a striking design.
Yes.
That you look at him and you just go, yes, I know who this character is, I know what they're about, and that is perfect.
My thing with his amnesia is that it's always sad when you see in a game where the character is like they've forgotten how the economy works, or they forget like how to put on their shoes type tutorials. This guy doesn't know how to be a ghost, which makes sense. Like, we don't know about the afterlife, so even if he didn't have amnesia, he still would need to have all this ghost shit explained to him. Whereas it's weird in like in other games where it's like, what's the name of this town? Like, it's something you can figure out on your own, even if you have amnesia. But being a ghost, no one knows that. It's okay to have that explained to you.
Yeah, another rule of ghosts, and why the game is set at night, is that ghosts disappear by the morning, so we're on a bit of a time limit here, not just in puzzles, but in the game itself, and once the sun comes up, we cease to exist.
Well, that basically means that our protagonist is completely screwed, because he's certainly not getting saved before the end of tonight, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It just adds a lot of tension. Like, the puzzles themselves are already tense. I mean, you have life and death in the balance, and then you have timed elements, and then just to put a very loosely enforced time limit over the whole game, it just adds to it. Everything's building.
Yeah.
It's built really early in this game. First chapter, and we've seen all of our limits.
Yeah, and actually I would say that, to be fair, Ghost Trick does a better job on the whole of working with that tension than the Ace Attorney franchise does, because the Ace Attorney franchise's tension points tend to always come, always right at the end of an investigation phase or a trial phase.
Yes.
And so you kind of got that, pretty much you get a rise and then a drop to the next one, a rise and then a drop. Whereas Ghost Trick's much more fluid in terms of how it deals with that. You're not getting a sudden build-up at one moment, you're getting a slow burn all the way up to an incident, and then you get a nice slow burn back down as you kind of go into a slightly calmer phase, but it merges together a lot more and it keeps the tension just there under the surface, so it's never gone, but it's present.
It's really thematically mirrored by the protagonist. Like, Ghost Trick is, like you said, it's a more mellow, cool flow to it. Like, even though it does have exciting moments, it doesn't spike as rapidly. Like, everything is gradual, everything is steady and smooth, like the protagonist. Whereas Ace Attorney, I mean, Phoenix snaps and gets way too excited at the drop of a dime, and so does the game itself.
Yeah.
So, really cool, very thematic. It shows how good of a writer that both these games had.
Yeah, there's a memo system, should you need to look back and collect your thoughts and whatnot. You can, they're kind of like case notes, really, if you want to compare it to anything. And, yeah, our adventure's not over yet. Ray here can't help us anymore, so I guess it's time to trick. Let's do this.
Take your time.
Pedal, or shimmy. Shimmy like you mean it.
Shimmy, yes. I will say there were numerous instances in recording where I'd say something to Tom and he'd go to the wrong thing, I'm just like, no, the other thing, please.
Well, maybe you should specify the right thing then.
I specify the right thing, thank you very much.
Oh, don't give me that.
Aren't married couples just adorable? Especially when they argue.
Certainly haven't missed the bands, Maxie. Certainly haven't missed the bands. There you go. Right there, for you.
How concerned are you about an umbrella when you just had a shotgun pointed at you in the face? I really wouldn't be concerned about where an umbrella came from.
Well, you know, trauma works in mysterious ways.
It does indeed, especially when it probably comes to this girl, because she seems a little bit crazy.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit off kilter, but that's cool. It makes her a fun, interesting character. Oh, Kitty!
Aww.
Oh, that's why we're playing this game. Because there's a cat in it. I get it. Alright.
Well, he's got a little red neckerchief and everything. Can you blame me?
I knew all that talk about the sound and the plot was just a ruse. You just wanted to play a cat game.
Basically, our next playthrough will actually be Nintendogs and cats. Sorry to give the game away, but what was I saying? Oh yeah, red is a very prevalent colour in this game, if you notice. The buttons are red, Sissel wears red, Lynn has red hair, Ray is red.
Ray's more orange, but still. And I mean, I'd say the main reason why there's so much red in this game is because ultimately red is kind of seen as, well, it's the colour of blood, and also it's one of the colours most associated with death and danger.
Yep.
And so it's only fitting in a game that's about ghosts that there is that constant thread of danger, because there's so much red that pops out at the screen at you. And I think it's also a nice contrast to the ghost and spirit blue.
Yes.
So obviously in like the ghost realm, everything that's not possessible is red, and everything that is possessible is blue. Anything else that's slightly more questionable, i.e. something that's living, is orange. And so, one, from a design perspective, they contrast very much so, which is really bloody helpful. But also, you then have that mixture of the physical danger of the world in the red, and you have the more thoughtful, puzzling, logical side of the spirit of what you got to do within the game.
Yeah.
It is true because, like, especially with the puzzle rooms and stuff, everything is just scattered and it's really chaotic. There's not really a linear design to any of the puzzles. There's a lot of motion, they're really dynamic. So yeah, you're right about how it almost seems like the living world is just this big mess, whereas the spirit world, there's some order, if nothing else, just a lot of emptiness.
And sometimes you will have to wait for like time to pass or certain events to transpire before you can find a path through the chaos, but that's what the ghost tricks are for. And okay, let's see who was ordering the hit on this girl over here, and I bet dollars to donuts he's blue. I was right.
My name is Igor.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
Although that's the snazzy room. Look at that chandelier.
God damn.
Yeah.
Guys, that photo of him on the wall, a portrait even. God, how narcissistic.
I think that's multiple paintings of him on the wall, which just means that he's even more narcissistic than you may have at first believed.
Phones are a big thing in Ghost Trick. Once you receive a telephone call and you've, I guess, sensed what's on the other end, you essentially trace the call and you can use the phones to warp to that location, and we'll be doing that a lot. Mostly like in chapters themselves. It's not like, oh, it's the end of a chapter, we'll go to another location and another chapter starts. Sometimes you'll be bopping back and forth between multiple locations in a single chapter.
Again, nothing gets stale in this game. They just throw something new with every puzzle.
Oh yeah.
Which is another thing that really, really helps this game, because let's admit, if every puzzle was pretty much the same and there was only like 3 or 4, there'd be even more comparisons to, you know, Ace Attorney games and stuff like that.
And what's cool is they actually introduce other, like, styles of Ghost Trick. Like, I'm not going to spoil, like, who gets them and whatnot, but it's not our main character, but they work with our main character. So you've actually got multiple playable characters in Ghost Trick, even if it doesn't seem like it at first.
But we're gonna take the lamp with us, right? We're gonna trick the umbrella to grab the lamp so that we take the lamp with us for the whole game.
Well,
I mean, while that would be pretty awesome, I don't think that's how teleportation through the phone lines works.
yeah, so, like, you can smash that Luxo into, like, the phone's receiver all you like, but it's not going through the phone lines.
See, I just can't find the logic in these ghost rules. I can pedal my bicycle, but taking a lamp through my phone line, oh, that's where the line is crossed, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, line is crossed, I get it, nice.
Unintentional puns, always the best.
So yeah, if we find out the mystery, blah 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 blah, they're one and the same. That's right, I'm following along, I'm not just laughing at cheap puns and whatnot.
This game has a plot?
Well, we basically covered the tutorial now, so we're forced to pay attention in part 2 onwards. And really, chapter 1 is just a tutorial, so don't worry if you've only been, like, stealing cursory glances at the plot and whatnot, because it's going to start picking up pretty rapidly from here on out.
Oh, definitely.
Fancy place. Alright, I guess we're going to head on over here, and that will conclude chapter 1 of Ghost Trick. Oh, this is one of my favourite bits of music in the game. The main theme. It gets a bit of a twist for the credits, but this music means, to me at least, you've done well. You've completed a bunch of puzzles, you've solved another piece of the mystery. But the mystery is not over yet, folks, so come back next time for part 2 of the Ghost Trick playthrough.